All right, it's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And Olamide, as well as Nelson Etta, are standing by to bring us up to speed. Good morning, Olamide. Good morning, Nelson.
Good morning, Veronica.
Good morning, Veronica. Good morning, Ibrahim.
Good morning. It's good to see you guys. Good morning. What are the papers saying this morning?
Well. Interesting stories we have on the papers this morning, but prominent on that list, of course, is Nigerians' reactions to, this recent increase, the 50% increase in the tariff hike from the telcos. But I'll take it up from here, Veronica and Ibrahim. Let's start, Nelson, with the Nation newspaper.
Absolutely.
Let's see what the Nation newspaper has to say this morning. Right, on the Nation, the big story here is, by the Minister of Finance, how Tinubu is stabilizing the economy, reducing poverty. And he also says that the president has an agenda for a $3 trillion economy, $1 trillion country, as he has always, said. The ministers to intensify on diversification and innovation, which will yield long-term benefits. Still on the Nation, subscribers kick as the NCC okays 50% tariff hike for telcos. That's on the bottom of the Nation newspaper.
Again, Mide, of course, the president has a good intention for the country, and so he's doing all he can alongside his team members to give us stability in the economy. But this tariff hike, 50% for telecommunication, well, we're waiting to see the outcome of that. Hopefully, it will not be too much for Nigerians to bear.
Well, I believe, getting the quality of service as against paying wholesome amount for it, we should be focused about, getting the quality of the service that we expect. But of course, we also need to consider, some economic factors as to, balancing why the hike, and, Nigerians also need to, get responses and perhaps enough of, what they're paying for. But let's quickly go
I love what you said, particularly about quality.
Quality, very important. Yeah. Let's see what the Punch has to say this morning.
Well, the Punch is talking about President Trump's return as the 47th United States president rejects transgender and illegal immigration. Well,
that's a big story, of course. Right. All through yesterday, we were monitoring this, the inauguration, how Trump, moved from the church, the whole swearing in, and some of his announcements that he made. I think up until the midnight, we were also monitoring it on TVC News. And right,
it was so orderly. That's what stood out for me. It was such an orderly event. Everything prim and proper. I want us to get there someday. But one of the things I also admired about them was that, he has signed quite a number of executive orders already, which is what the papers is
talking
telling
about
us this morning, rejecting transgender and illegal immigration. That is one of the things he did on day one as president.
Well, as at the time we spoke yesterday, live, there were already predictions about some of his policies on immigration, which were not, out of his campaign. Those are the things that he mentioned that he was going to address immediately as soon as he comes in. But it's great that you also mentioned that he did not take over. He succeeded Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
Which shows that it is, a peaceful form.
It was a smooth transfer of beautiful to see.
Transition.
Yeah.
But, his opinion on sexual orientation, saying that we have just, the male and the female gender.
He made a bold
statement.
Two genders, male, female.
Right. I think the Daily Independent is also reporting this story. Let's see what Daily Independent has to say. Daily Independent is also, has a picture story of the Trump inauguration. And you could see him also standing side by side with, world leaders. You could see money standing side by side with him.
I'm sorry. One of the things that stood out for me is Melania Trump. Man, she looked exquisite.
You could see the heart.
Oh,
you could see the heart on her.
Like, her husband tried to give her, should I say, a peg or a kiss? He couldn't land on her cheeks because they had to allow that to be in one piece. But that was absolutely beautiful. She looks good.
And others standing side by side with Trump, we could also, some say, he was trying to make a statement. You could see the likes of, Jeff Bezos, you could see
Elon
Musk and all of that, looking at how much Trump has, gone into, cryptocurrency and all of that. It was making a statement yesterday, and with the executive orders, it seems he's ready to hit the
Trump is
ground.
a statement maker, so we're not surprised, really.
Right, and still Daily Independent. Daily Independent is saying that Lagos generated over $71.6 million. That's in dirty December. That's according to Sanwo-Olu's aide. I mean, I'm not shocked.
Again, Lagos is the economic hub center of Nigeria,
right.
So hey, of Africa actually,
So I'm not shocked that Lagos was able to generate this, and this should be a lesson to other states towards ensuring that their IGR is able to meet up with other states. It's able to support also the center, rather than having a case where
we're all dependent on the center.
Everyone is dependent on the center. Quickly through the New Telegraph. Let's see what the New Telegraph has to say.
Well, again, the New Telegraph is talking about the telcos, tariff hike. But I'd like to look at something else here at the top banner of the Nigerian News Direct. EFCC arraigns ex-Amcon MD, 4 others over alleged 76 billion naira and $31.5 million fraud. Sometimes some of these monies, give me a little bit of a headache, but, well, it is what it is. And then we have the relief as Abionu orders immediate construction of Ijoko Road abandoned by Amosu. We were talking earlier about the smooth transition of government. Just because I started it doesn't mean you cannot complete it. The end goal is for the good of the citizens of our state. And so projects started by a previous government must be completed by the next one, so the people can enjoy the dividends of democracy. Yeah.
Right, and that's of course on the Nigerian News Direct.
Absolutely.
Very quickly to the New Telegraph, which is also, reporting this tariff hike. NCC has approved increase for phone calls and all of that, but it's also reporting the economy. The federal government is reassuring citizens. This is not the first time, this is not the second time that Nigeria's economy will emerge stronger in 2025. But of course, there are hopes as to, how we're going to go about this. We could see some of, those moves that has been made by this administration in the past year. And so we're expecting that, perhaps we should begin to see some of the fruit of some of these moves.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure Nigerians cannot wait.
To see it.
Tariff at this time, so many persons are raising questions. I think there should be a form of balance.
So that breaks down to affordability of fuel, being able to have light and power in my house, being able to have food on my table. There's quite a number of things on the table that Nigerians are expecting, and we are trusting the government to be able to deliver on these expectations.
Of course, from what you've seen from this government, it says that it's ready to, work with the people. We've seen a lot of consultations with the manufacturing sector, trying to look into diversification, and of course the Vice President, at the World Economic Forum. So you could see various moves by these administrations. I mean, one will say it's quite active. Of course,
President Tinubu has never taken the last step when it comes to economy, and so it's one of the things that we are all expecting him to deliver excellently, so that the country can come out of this economic quagmire we find ourselves.
Well, they've already said that the president is the #1 marketer of Nigeria. And you see it when he, meets with other nations. But let's see what Blueprint newspaper has to say.
Well, again, on Trump being sworn in as the president and telcos, the tariff hike again. But there's something here that I'd like us to see. This is coming from the defense headquarters. If you zoom a little bit closer into the blueprint right there, you see troops eliminated, Turge's son, scores of other terrorists. This is a report from the DHQ. This is some good news to hear that our men of the Nigerian army are winning the war against terrorism and bringing peace to this country. We love to hear things like this.
I mean, even from analysts and, security experts, they've also mentioned that we've seen a drastic shift in the level of insecurity that was recorded in the past few years. Right now, the Nigerian army is, on its feet. I will say it's very active to ensure that, this criminals, so to speak, are brought to book, especially those who, you know, are trying to hold the nation to ransom. And it's great that, you know, Nigerians are also, you know, looking forward to this, but also we also need, you know, more collaborations with major sectors, and of course Nigerians themselves. They should also work hand in hand with the Nigerian army, security agencies, you know, generally, even the Nigerian police.
Speaking of collaboration, we have to again give kudos to all our service chiefs, you know, the Air Force, the Army, the police, the customs, and so there's a lot of collaboration and interagency dependency in this war against terrorism and insecurity in the country, better than what we've been seeing in time past, and that is also why we're seeing the gains in you know, against insecurity.
Well, I'm sure another newspaper will be reporting this. We'll see. But let's go to Business AM, and as always, they're reporting the Trump effect. What a second coming could mean for Nigeria's economy. IFC issues record $2 billion social bond to support emerging market. I mean, there have been no speculations as to what a Donald Trump administration would mean for the economy, world economy generally, and even Nigeria in itself. But let's quickly go to Nigerian Tribune because of our time. Let's see what the Tribune is reporting this morning.
Oh, well, if you could give me a few minutes there to bring the Tribune up. I don't have that yet. Allow me to.
I see it here on Nigerian Tribune. Solid Minerals. NAS doubts the federal government's commitment to diversify the economy. It has summoned the finance, budget ministers, budget DG, Ministry of Solid Minerals, budget defense, also differed in this summon. That's a big issue.
I mean, the word being used there, doubts. I wouldn't understand why the NAS, again, the National Assembly, that means, would doubt the federal government's capacity to diversify, seeing the various steps the government is taking to ameliorate the, you know, the economic challenges we're facing in the country right about now. I think the government needs to be given a pat on the back on that. However, while we're expecting more, we need to understand that it sometimes will be baby steps until you become a man, not from being born to a man. You know,
right.
Again, that's the matter.
So let's look at the leadership, and it's given an update on the tanker explosion. The death toll has hit 98, and victims have also been moved to Abuja. Such a sad story. But another story here says $2.3 billion Mambila project case. Buhari makes appearance at the ICC on Thursday. I mean, this case has the project, the hydroelectric power project in Taraba State, has been a huge one. It seems there is no resolution in sight, and that's why, you know, former President Buhari was someone to explain this project. If completed, the project will approximately generate approximately 4.7 billion kilowatts annually for Nigeria. But let's quickly go
which is what we are talking about, Olamide.
Right,
power,
it will be a win for power generation.
We need it
in Nigeria. Let's go to Daily Trust. Do you have Daily Trust there?
Yes, I do. And on the Daily Trust here, we see federal government rewards Abuja-Kaduna highway contract to inactive company. And that's a very strong thing to say. An inactive company. Why would the federal government do that? You need to pick up the Daily Trust to read and see for yourself. Again, still on the Daily Trust, at the top right banner there, PDP NEC meeting threatened as governor's truce flops.
Right.
Allow me the politics in play right here. All right. And at the bottom of it, we see Abbas leads discourse on food security at the 22nd Daily Trust Dialogue. Well, the Speaker of the House of Representatives is leading a conversation on food there. Food is good for all of us. You know, so if he leads that course, that is still a good thing to be done.
Let's look at this Nigeria. Of course, it's reporting, Trump's inauguration. But there is a story here, interesting. Sanctions on banks over cash shortage at the ATM. It is timely. Experts are saying that this is timely. I believe we discussed this a few days ago on Monday. We were talking about, what is causing this scarcity and how come we have POS operators having enough
money,
cash? Is there a seeming, you know, collaboration between these banks to perhaps give funds or so to these POS operators?
Well, that's why they've been sanctioned. They have to go answer. Yeah, they have to go answer a case for why their money with the POS operators and not at the ATMs. I mean, let me remember, a few years ago, there wasn't anything like POS. We either walk into the banks or the ATMs to withdraw money. So all of a sudden, what's going on? And
interestingly, those ATMs, they were working, you know, perfectly at some point. Even when you withdraw from the ATM, you do not have to, you know, count your money. But right now,
I see what you're saying. I mean, if I withdraw from the ATM, I have to count
just to be sure
it's complete.
It's working. But
that shouldn't be the case. So.
I want to believe the first news is also, you know, reporting this. Let's leave Trump's inaugural speech. That has been gathering a whole lot of reactions. But another story here. Suspended RCCG pastor Leo Madi launches ministry. If you followed that story, there was a lot of, you know, drama.
I saw a video of him dancing, you know, in his usual way in his new church, and people were making a lot of comments about the way he's always a dancing pastor. Yeah, some in support, some against.
Some against.
Right. But again, this is life, where he has moved on and the church has let him go. And I don't think we really have any personal opinion about it. That's what he's choosing to do. That's his life. Let the man have his own fun. He has his maker to answer to at the end of the day. That's not our business to really interfere. That's not your business as well.
Some will say, I mean, it's on social media. So as long as it comes on social media, it's already our business.
Well, I mean, he loves the social media himself, and you know, so well, that's fine for him.
Right. Do you have the platforms times there with you?
Yes, I do.
Right.
If I can quickly pick that up. I thought we were going to pick up something from the first news, actually. You know, I wanted us to see something a little bit different here from the first news, and it talks about a heartbroken parent sharing harrowing tales of 14 stolen children and babies. Olamide, this is really sad. Heartbroken parents share harrowing tales of 14 stolen children. Olamide, the word stolen children, I don't understand what that means.
I
mean, not that I don't know stolen, but
I expected the newspaper to actually, you know, quote who is making that
statement, right?
That statement, so as not to, you know, preempt what may have happened. And it's a very, you know, saucy or dicey situation. Let's leave it to investigation. Let's quickly go to Platform Times.
Yes.
And it's saying that 20-year-old electrocuted while vandalizing transformer in Abia State. That's on the top left of the Platform Times. What does this mean? We're talking about vandalism in Nigeria, and we recently saw the minister coming out to say some persons are sabotaging you know, the power sector through vandalism.
You know,
now we have a 20-year-old.
Going to do that.
I have an issue with even, you know, the age. At what point did you get involved in this kind of things?
To the point he has the boldness to approach a national monument, you know, to vandalize it. Olamide, there's a thought in my mind, but I'm not sure I can verbalize that.
Let's not do that. We are live. Let's quickly go to the Abuja Inquirer. On the Abuja Inquirer, Wike talks tough.
Yeah.
Perform or get sacked. 2 FCTA directors on their way out. No going back on land reforms. Says the FCTA can earn 300 billion naira IGR monthly. I mean, I'm all for, you know, states and regions, you know,
raising their revenue,
their own
you know,
revenue,
the IGR going
and
up,
taking attention away from the center, of course. But we've always known the FCT minister.
I mean, he's always talking tough.
Get sacked, and I'm not even shocked that he's going to make that statement. But I mean, if this is going to get the job done, then
why not?
Why not? We have to also try our best to, you know, bring public servants to book. Let's not forget that they're the ones serving us. And so if there is someone that decides not to, you know, provides the dividends of democracy to Nigerians, that person can get sacked. Let's go to...
Olamide, you see, whilst the minister is doing what he's doing, he also has to tread on the path of caution, right? In delivering the responsibilities of your office, you also have to take into consideration the feelings of the people that you're working with. And so Nigerians are asking before anything is done, ask questions, take into stock things that needs to be taken into stock. Let's present the appropriate documents before an order is executed.
I want to believe we'll have more time to, discuss this much later. Let's go to, that will be the Guardian newspaper. And apart from, the image of Trump on the newspaper there is a very interesting story. I think that will be the top right. I am unsure of unemployment statistics in Nigeria, says the Labour Minister. Interesting. I mean, who should have the statistics if not the Labour Minister? That's also, brings the issue of, data, how much of, data we keep in Nigeria, how well we've improved in terms of data protection and all of that. Well, but if we are to address the issue of unemployment, we should have a statistics.
Who else to do the job of data keeping for unemployment in the country except the Ministry of Labour itself? And so it behoves on them to be able to know exactly who is not and who is employed so that proper planning can be done. Again, that falls into the conversation on economy. If the government do not know the number of persons that are not employed, how can they appropriately and effectively plan for? That's just what I'm saying.
Right, we'll leave the Labour Minister, but of course, those who have interest in that paper or that story should also, pick up the Guardian. But finally, I believe we have the Sporting Life. What do you have on the Sporting Life?
Olamide, you know that's where the ball always rolls to me, and I love it. Again, the big story there: Mikel woos Osimhen for Chelsea. Remember, yesterday, Osimhen is being wooed for 112 billion naira. So Mikel is saying, "Oga, no go there. This is where the real soup is sweeter." So I don't know if Mikel will succeed in getting Osimhen to join him in Chelsea, but that is still something we would need to see later. And in tennis, Sinner defies dizziness to advance. This is something pretty good there. And on the sports table, Champions League, Liverpool versus Lille tonight. Red target round of 16. On spot. Again, a lot of sports analysts are saying that it's neither there or here, but we're waiting to see exactly what will happen.
And another issue, Boniface returns to team training. I mean, this is coming at a time where we both have been looking into, football as another,
Hey, let me ask you, do you watch football? Do you watch, do you watch sport at all?
I try my best to actually do that.
Who's your best?
We're done with that, on the newspapers this morning. Let's go back to Veronica and Ibrahim.
All right, thank you, Olamide and Nelson. I saw you guys were debating on who is your best with regards to football. But thank you for passing the ball over to us now. We'll definitely continue.
I saw that.
Wow.